Alright. And we're live. Now chat, it's full warning, you might hear our AC unit in the background, and for good reason. It's hot. It's like 94 degrees by us today, which is extra hot where we are. But we're back, we're gonna play Explorer. I have a bunch of decks I've been wanting to try, so I just want to dive right into getting some matches in here. Let's go ranked, Explorer, best of 3. I think I want to start with... I think we'll start with the tried true Grease Fan combo. It's a list that I saw posted by Channel Fireball recently. Just really want... You know, it's a good litmus test to see how I'm feeling. Play gladly. This is a fine hand. It's got a Fable to dump these Parhelions. Could also just naturally hit one with the Stitcher Supplier here. Ooh, would have loved to have drawn that Throwing Discovery. Ooh, yeah, that's what we like to see. All 3 out of our 4 Parhelions. Well, this is an easy censored. Luckily, I'm just gonna go right to their turn. Okay, Magma Opus. I think I'm gonna take the opportunity just to resolve this. Unreal. Oh, interesting. Here, I thought they were more of a control deck. This looks more like their creativity deck. Was actually correct to play this first. Yeah, that's fine. Now I won't even bother playing this. Veto. Interesting. So they look like a control deck, but this looks like a Gear Hulk. Yeah, it's a Gear Hulk. See what their modes are. I'm assuming they're tapping 2 of our lands, which is fine, and they're just dealing 4 to us, sure. The good news is we're actually not just immediately dead. Any land that isn't one of these is actually more than good enough here. Got our opponent basically on the sweeper or bust here. Sure. That big indication that they don't have a sweeper spell. think this is gonna get the block or something. That seemed like a really weird way for that to play out. It feels like they just, like, didn't look at our graveyard. Okay. Well, they don't look like they'd be a Rest in Peace deck, to be honest. But it still feels like an easy duress. Like, our cuts are probably stuff like Lightning Axe, Thrilling Discovery. Probably one copy of Parhelion. This feels like a pretty free card to cut. Like this, like this. Probably bring in... I kind of like Hearse against a deck like theirs. I think I'll bring in the Chandra. Just a good value play. There's a bunch of different ways we could sideboard this matchup. We could go all in on the combo still. We could diversify, play the Chandras. One's on a mulligan, and they're on the play, so those are all things I like. This probably isn't even a turn 1 Thoughtseize. It's probably like a turn 2 Thoughtseize. Peak. March. I can play through a March. Teferi Gearhulk. That's more of the thing. That's the kind of stuff we'd be concerned about. So we'll take the Teferi. It's better in a vacuum. I'm just going to play the 4-3. Looks like they drew a response. I cannot imagine this is a March pitch a card. No, it's discard Opus, sure. It's pretty good, actually. This just sort of forces this issue. To see if that's a non-land card or not, and it is. So our worst case scenario is that they draw an untapped land. Go ahead and just attempt to play Grease Fang. Okay. So again, this puts our opponent in that scenario of, like, it's sweeper or bust now. Because even a Gearhulk into the Magma Opus is just not good enough. Like, this is fine. They gotta do this now. choice, but alright. I would have just killed the Grease Fang. Not like you're racing me, you're dead in a turn, so it's... Just gonna grab the Epicure here. Seems like a weird choice, but... okay. I don't know why that was a concession, but... seems like an odd choice, but... whatever. Listen, if you didn't come ready to play against Grease Fang combo, I don't think you came ready to play Explorer. If I'm being honest with y'all. Probably play just a match or two with each deck. Just wanting to try things out more than anything else. See if there's anything, excuse me. Anything we want to commit to playing more. So as you've probably noticed, chat, I haven't been posting a Sunday Snapshot over the last few weeks. It's primarily just due to being busy, but at the same time I also haven't had any major modern events. Or even Pioneer events, just some local stuff. So no big deal, but the good news is I can share with you today that I have committed to playing Pioneer Izzet Phoenix. Big fan of the Izzet color combination. Not naturally, very unnatural deck for me. I love this. Got tap land and untap land, go. This looks like Feather. Yeah, red, white aggro. A deck that's been picking up a lot in popularity elsewhere in Pioneer. I've been playing against this stuff a lot lately. Yeah, easy. Oh, I'm shocked that's a play with fire. Feels like they'd be playing Reckless Rage, not play with fires. Alright, start casting your dumb spells on your Feather. Saying hard. Yeah, this is one of the big reasons this deck's starting to pop up again. So we're gonna take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A little brutal. Lots of decisions being made by our opponent. Oh, interesting choice. Neato. I'm gonna dump the Concealed Courtyard for sure. I think the Sacred Foundry. Okay. One of these is probably a God's Willing, so we should keep that in mind. Yeah, let's find out if one of them's a God's Willing. If one is, I'll just concede. No, yeah, it's basically a God's Willing. This game's going nowhere fast, and I have zero interest in sitting here waiting for our opponent to slowly decide what spell they're going to play. Alright, so this is a matchup where I like Thoughtseize, but we don't need extra effects like that. A Braid's a little awkward, but the Ray of Enfeeblement Lightning Axe could be quite strong. A Trimmer can't stay away, and I think a Parhelion. I'll probably bring in like 2 copies of a braid, and I think I'll actually trim 1 lightning axe, because if you have to lightning axe them in the dark, it's scary. Especially since we saw Sajuru's step, or Sajuru's protection, or whatever the hell the fucking card's called. That's like a good indication that they're probably playing as many as 6 to 8 copies of that effect. So they highly value it. This deck reminds me a lot of playing against Slippery Bogles, and I hate that deck. Believe me, chat, if we ever play Modern and I get paired up against Slippery Bogles, if you want to see me get tilted immediately, that's the deck to watch me play against. A little awkward. I'm just gonna lead on the fast land. I don't like turn 1 Thoughtseize against decks like this. Okay, well, this is gonna have to be on black, I guess. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Thrilling Discovery in this deck. Part of me feels like it should just be like Cathartic Reunion for like mana cost purposes. Sure. Willing to deal 3 to that. And I have 1 castable spell, and I don't even want to cast it. This is definitely the biggest weakness this deck has. What you're seeing right here. That's fair. That's a don't discard the hand size right there. I'm gonna shock this in. Actually willing to just go like this. Right on time. This is looking more and more like I'm gonna Thoughtseize myself next turn. That seems like a dangerous choice, but alright. I am absolutely sure I want to target myself. That's why you don't run out the Thoughtseize right away, chat. In a matchup like this, you want to save it for like when you're ready to like play that to force the issue on a protection spell. So you like play it and they either cast it in response or they let it resolve and you get to take it away anyway. And if they cast it in response, you just like cast the removal spell in response to that and then you get another card. So it's just all around a good way to sequence things. I can't imagine that there is a way they come back from this. Yeah. I think they seem to agree with me. Their deck doesn't really seem like it can play back from the stammer into getting their head kicked in. I was thinking about this. I think I would rather cut a copy of each of these. Bring in like 2 duresses. Really just maximize how good my removal can be. Seems like a solid keep. Can dump this Parhelion or pit to either one of these spells for pretty much free. Yeah, I feel like I can play this and just pass. Since I already have a Parhelion in my hand, I'm not really interested in milling myself. Interesting choice. Just gonna Lightning Axe. Discard this thing. Just gotta kill it now. It's best to kill them while their stuff while it's tapped out anyway, so. Unlicensed Hearse. That's pretty backbreaking. So we gotta strap in. This is gonna be a longer game than we previously anticipated. Grease Fang. I doubt we'll ever actually get to do our combo now. Which is really bad for us, because we don't really play that well against what they would be doing otherwise. Luckily, if they just like jam a feather, we're in a good position where we can Thought Seize into Ray of Enfeeblement. This works just the same. This is the kind of matchup where I definitely like the Esper deck a lot more. Feather, Defiant Strike, Reckless Rage. Okay, well I think I'm actually just gonna take Reckless Rage. Right? So let's think here. If I just take Feather, just attack for 4. This might bait them into targeting this with Defiant Strike. And it did. We're gonna let this Connive resolve. Actually surprised they didn't crew this. Oh, that's no fun. Yep, that's just gonna kill our Grease Fang. Love to draw like an Abrade here. Oh, it's easy, just we're gonna Thrilling Discovery these away. 3 lands, and it can't stay away. That's brutal. We got stuck with the 1 copy of Can't Stay Away. Luckily, we got to draw through our cards, though. I put the card on top. That's not good for us. Yep. This card's so bad. I really dislike this card in general, but I get why it's in the deck. Alright, did they have a 2-power creature? I feel like they scried a land to the top, and then I don't get why. Are they really out of draw cards? Oh, no, they got one right there. They just aren't... Oh, I suppose they're just waiting for a feather. Oh, that was a Defiant Strike. Okay. Play Fable the Mirror Breaker. So kind of force them to Reckless Rage, at least. And then we could just dump these to draw 2 cards. Actually, I think I'll hold the land here. 4, 5, 6. How much does this thing cost? 8? There is a world where we end up, like, casting the thing. Oh, they just drew a Reckless Rage. Sure. Seems dangerous, actually, but... It's definitely our matchup to win. Granted, we can, like, draw a removal spell, but chances are now they have a way to stop that removal spell. Well, that's actually a really good draw. Get rid of this bad card in the land to draw more air. It's fine. Just activate your own licensed turns. I don't get why our opponent's been like super skittish about like doing things. Well, now they can't, like, effectively Reckless Rage and attack, which is good. That was probably the worst case scenario. So if anybody was wondering why Unlicensed Hearse gets played so much in this format, this is why, right here. Didn't draw any of our braids, which kind of sucks. Yeah, you should attack with that, but okay. Actually, it was a very dangerous play for them to make. To attack with this, that could kill them. So, how many Parhelions are left in my deck? I have 2 of them in my deck. Okay. So, I'm going to set a draw step stop. Feels like if you crewed it last turn, you're crewing it this turn. Cool draw. Oh, I gotta set it there. That's right. Like a token copy. Sacrifice the token copy. Naturally rip 2 lands. Whew. Feels like we're going to be on the plan of, we're just going to be making a lot of Voldaren Epicures. Okay. Definitely feels like they drew this. So I have a feeling they have, like, protection spells in their hand. They have, like, that or, like, ways to kill a Grease Fang. I don't think they have anything else. Let's see what they copy. Reckless Rage. Okay, so I'm going to try and start clearing out blockers. Sure, I wouldn't be shocked if this actually targets the 10th District Legionnaire, but they didn't go for that. Can just go like this. Sack this guy right now. Jesus fucking Christ. Block here, I guess. Doesn't necessarily matter since I'd be using treasures. Wow. Just ripping all of the lands in my deck here. Alright, let's go ahead and make a copy of Voldaren Epicure. Actually, I feel like the shock land's gonna go first. life total feels at least somewhat important right now. This costs 4 to do. Yeah, we'll go for this. Well, that was pay dirt. They have a way to kill this? They do. Naturally, they do. Feels about right. Now they just won't attack with that. They'll go for the, just activation on it. Doesn't change the rest of our line, though. If our opponent's smart, honestly, I'd say just attack with these. Feels like crewing this is, like, not gonna get you where you want to be. I'm just gonna chump block it again. Yeah, they've... Really? Okay. Sure. That's fine. I'm not even gonna block that. I have no reason to block non-lethal attacks. Feels like a weird choice in your deck, but alright. Actually, I should wait. See what they do. There's a chance they just, like, crew it and... they're gonna crew it and give it protection from red. Sure. I should have waited to do that, but it's fine. So that's 0% chance that I'm going to win this game right now, but it's game 3, so I'll play it out and see. Game 3 is the one match where you can, like, afford to play to your outs a little more. So sack this token. It's going to die anyway. Nice. Right on time. Otax. So here, I'll make one of these to block with, and then of course block. Opponent's probably gonna okay. I'll do the thing, but we are getting past the point where, like, you know, the silly shenanigans just aren't going to get there. Yeah, you should just literally attack with everything. Like, that is... I would be amiss to say that our opponent has played, like, absolute shit this whole game. Feels like the worst one to do that with right now, but... You got a protection spell? Like... If they do, they're gonna have to use it. Oh, they have Iganjo. It's fine. Sack a blood token. Draw 2 lands naturally. Drawing a lot of lands this game. Right on time. So happy I brought those in. Woohoo. I'm willing to concede. Game's over. Game was over when they played that on licensed hers. So I won't lie, I personally, I'm not a fan of this deck. At least in, like, general. I like it in other formats, but I feel like here, it's a deck that once it becomes a good deck, immediately becomes a bad deck. You know, that's a phenomenon that happens with decks that are good but easily attackable. You know, that just means they push themselves out of the format. You see that a lot in formats like Modern, when a deck like Living End or Dredge is the best deck, then people come very acutely aware of that and very ready to beat it. Which is, you know, problematic to long-term success for a deck. Sometimes a deck will be able to play through that, but not always. Well, let's change it up. I want to play this Boros Fires list. This is another list I saw from Channel Fireball. So if you're wondering, chat, I would not endorse playing Mardu Greasefang. I do think the Esper deck has a better chance of long-term success because it's a deck that can more reliably win without the Greasefang combo, because the Mardu deck is just a pile of shitty cards with a that all like synergize with your combo. And you know, I say that as somebody who will play Voldaire and Epicure in Modern. You know, it's, you know, not really the power level of card that you can win with without just having your combo. So good sign that the Explorer queue has a minute-long wait time. Paired up into Platinum after being paired down. That is a... Actually, I think this is a keep. We treat the Aganjo like a spell. We can play the, treat these like spells, and we just got ourselves like a fine but slow hand. Though awkwardly, everything's 3 mana, so... It's a deck that feels like it should be playing like Temple of Triumph. Right on time. I'll play Clifftop Retreat. Really would love to draw a 4-drop. Okay, we're up against just black-green stuff. Oh yeah, that's exactly what we needed to draw here. Yeah, this feels like we just play Moonblast Cleric and call it a day. Let's put the fires on top. Could also grab, like, a Showdown of the Scalds. Like, that's what's nice about this card, is it acts as a way to draw not only Fires of Invention to increase our combo, but you can even grab, like, Fable the Mirror Breaker. Oh, sweet. We're getting a turn where they didn't, like, attack us. We'll play the fires, and then sadly just kill this. I'm going to attack. We are ultimately a deck that wins with damage, so it's important to get your pot shots in. Interesting to see Voltaire for Aska. Well, that can't destroy a Fires of Invention, and that's realistically all I could ask for. Alright. Interesting. Cycle this. Ambitious Farmhand, sure. I'm still gonna play Den. I think I'd rather just see if I hit another spell to cast off the Ox. And we did. I can go here, and this can go at the Vraska. So this also gives trample in addition to the haste. So they killed our thing that tutored a thing then we clapped back with Ox of Aganos. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Sadly, we did dump our Savai Triome. Yeah, that don't feel strong. Meaning we can't, like, reanimate off of Kenrith. That would be the, it's a strong aspect of that card. Interesting. I feel like I could lead with an attack. Actually, yeah, I think I just animate Den of the Bugbear. Because they're going to have to block. So they're going to chump block the Ox here, take 4, go to 4. And then I can be like, this. Yeah. Because then I can just play the Triome tapped, have not only the Den of the Bugbear, but also the Sokenzon that can channel. Plus, I could put the, like, Touch the Spirit, which, by the way, they should have let that, like, Moon Cleric resolve, but it's a, whole other thing. This definitely feels like a matchup where, like, my fair cards are probably at their best, so, like, Showdown and Rekindling Phoenix, and even Kenrith are just, like, all really strong, generally. I like Bone Crusher Giant a lot. I think I can trim... I trim, like, 2 Fables. That seems fine. I like maximizing my 4s. Cavalier of Dawn isn't bad, but giving them a 3/3 doesn't feel very good. I'd rather just, like, block their stuff than, like, get into those, like the Cavalier exchanges. A little awkward in the mana, but still awkward in the mana. How many plains or mountains do I have? One. So I'm not gonna count these 4. So I got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna play. So this is actually a real question. If I play this tapped, one of these is guaranteed tapped, and I'm guaranteed 2 tap lands. If I play the dens first, I can still Lightning Strike on 2, and then there's a chance that this is I get an untapped land, and then this becomes an untapped land later. So it's actually correct to play Den of the Bugbear, because there's still a chance that this is not a tap land. Where if I play this, it guarantees that these dens are tap lands. I'm just going to kill this right away. I'm not interested in letting it live, or to see how they curve beyond it. This land doesn't feel very good in their deck. Well, it's definitely going to be a tap land. I think I'm going to play the Fable. Right? So if I play this, I'm going to put like a Fires on top of my deck, and I can't even play it. So I think I'll just go with the Fable. Worst case scenario, they what? Kill my 2/2? Yeah, so wow, they kept that in against us? That feels like a bold decision. This card's fucking horrible against our deck. Spawn of Mayhem. I dump 1 Cavalier. I'm actually willing to dump both these Cavaliers. Oh yeah. See what I told you, chat? What did I tell you, chat? Boom. Rekindling Phoenix is probably one of the worst possible threats for them. Because I doubt they're playing Vraska's Contempt. That confirms that they're not playing Vraska's Contempt or any exile-based removal. Because Vraska's Contempt is a terrible card, just like in a vacuum. It might be a card that you could see, like, kind of like, you could see it in a sideboard sometimes. But, like, that would be a very closed field, narrow sideboard card. Where, in general, you really wouldn't want something like that. That's not worth buying them. I don't really plan on playing much Alchemy. We might play Historic in one of the next budget battle seasons after Baldur's Gate Alchemy Horizons, or whatever the fucking set name is called. But, I'm definitely avoiding alchemy. I'll play qualifiers for like the regionals if I have to, but emphasis on I have to. That's a mulligan. That's a... I guess I'll keep it. I actually like putting the Cavalier back in the dark. I could put back a Lightning Strike, but we're far more likely to play against, like, a creature deck. Play this Savai Triome. Not the exact creature deck I was hoping to play against, but I'll bite. Oh, is this the no second land? Please be no second land. Oh, that would be so good for me. Oh, there's a second land. Interesting choice of lands. Thoughtseize. This feels like an easy take my Rekindling Phoenix. No second threat, though. That's pretty notable. This is if an opponent lost life this turn, right? Only during your turn, and only if an opponent lost life. Yeah, we'll kill this pre-combat. No reason to let them get the ability going. Sure. It's not a bad one to draw. Yeah, I'm willing to do this. Seeing something like Gutter Bones does make me a little hesitant of, like, a card like Deadly Dispute, so I'm willing to do this as sorcery speed to prevent, like, that from happening, because that's, like, I would view that as the worst case scenario. Best draw is a 4-drop. Okay, well, I'm still gonna go for the fires into the Fable. The old 0-mana Fable of the Mirror Breaker. So, we'll dump anything that isn't a spell. Or we'll dump most spells that cost 5 or more. Oh, they fatal pushed my token. This is fine. If they want to spend their turn buying a Gutter Bones and playing it. Wow, they didn't even buy the Gutter Bones. I'm willing to discard this. That was a really good one, actually. So, again, surprised they didn't just, like... Maybe they have a Takenuma they want to channel? I'm going to grab Showdown of the Scalds. Let's put that on top. I actually really like Moonblessed Cleric. It might be weird to say that I like that it doesn't. Wow, that's a terrible card. This could probably be good here over the next turn or two, but, like, if this Showdown hits, like, a Legion Angel, I feel like we're in a good spot. Eliminate. We are getting to a scary low life total, I will say that. We're not out of the woods. Ooh, Knight of the Ebon Legion. Luckily, we have blockers. We hit the literal worst case scenario with that. That is horrendous. It is, I mean, it's, I can't even, like, pretend that that's, like, likely to happen, because it's really not. Alright, so this is chump block, chump block. I don't think there's a draw that gets us out of this. I guess Kenrith could, in theory, get us out of this. I don't know by doing what, but, like, in theory, he could get us out of this. I suppose he could gain 10 life and block something. But he'll just, like, immediately die anyway. Nice! We drew another land! Well, I can't feel bad, because that was less that we died because our deck sucked, and more because we just drew 8 trillion lands. Which I guess still feels bad, but... this is another matchup similar to the other, where I just, like, want to, like, bring in my, let me cut the Fables. Or I just want, like, to bring in my, like, card advantage-y stuff, like Rekindling Phoenix and the Showdown. Don't need to be doing anything too fancy. I saw this. I think Gabe Nassif posted this list, and I thought it looked pretty interesting from a, I feel like Fires of Invention is a very unexplored part of the metagame, and now that, like, we've figured out the cards that enable you the best possible chance of beating, the Greasefang deck, while simultaneously we've, we've got Winota has been bleh, I'm all tongue-tied. Has been banned. Hold on, chat. I'm gonna restart my phone. Alright, I'm gonna be on the play. But I definitely feel like, Jesus Christ. Whatever. I'm gonna keep this, but not because I would recommend a hand like this. It's got a spell. It's got creature lands. This is an easy put back to plains. So now this scenario, I'm willing to play a Sacred Foundry first, because I can guarantee that I'm gonna have 2 untapped lands over the next 2 turns. Dread Wanderer, sure. Fires right on time. Play the the Den of the Bugbear. Next turn we'll probably play Clifftop Retreat. Take 2. Sure. I think I'm willing to just hold up a Gonjo here. Channel a Gonjo, kill the Aetherborn. It does mean I'm not going to get to play Fires next turn, but I can still play Touch the Spirit Realm. So if they have like a follow-up like the Spectacle thing, which seems to be popular. Yep, there it is. It's exactly the card I had in my pictured in my head. I could just play this and exile it. Like, I don't mind playing the game where like I sit here and like just deal with their threats and then slam a Fires into a 4-drop. Or a Fires into a 5-drop. Like, that game is just fine. And now here, even if they have something like a Thoughtseize, like, they gotta have something else to be pressuring me as well. Okay, I'm gonna play Fires. And slam the 4-drop. So, it's exactly what we talked about. We played the game of I deal with their threats, and now we're gonna play the game of I have Rekindling Phoenix against the black deck. This feels like an Ebon Death. It's that or a Castle Locthwain activation. So it's awkward. What held this card back was its last line of text. The part where if it's the thing that died, you can't play it from your graveyard. Like here, I got to trade with the Ebon Death. And now, if they have, like, a removal spell for the token, then they don't have to deal with the Phoenix anymore. Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Sure. What? Oh, yes, right, it checks my Phoenix. I forgot that it checks your opponent's creatures. But this is still fine. Okay, Showdown, don't fuck me now, okay? Play our land, play the Rekindling Phoenix number 2. I'm willing just to turtle up here. Actually, I should have attacked the Den of the Bugbear. That was a mistake. Yeah, I should have set the Den across for 4. Can still use it to block fairly effectively. Wow, that's pretty brutal. I think I'm willing to just activate Den to sacrifice it as a creature. An enchantment. I think the Fires is actually the bigger problem card here. Means I'm only going to get to single spell next turn, but like... whatever. I can block fairly effectively. And the reason I was willing to get rid of the land and not the Boomblast cleric is that there's a really reasonable chance that this hits a land. And naturally it doesn't the one time that I was like hoping it would. But, okay, so we're gonna have to really think about what we're doing next turn. Sure. If you want to play the game of attack me with Ebon Death and I kill your Ebon Death. Okay, so I'm going to get to play 2 of these cards. I think one of them is for sure a Lightning Strike to kill this Gifted Aetherborn. I think the other one's going to be Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I'm going to build this up so that it can block these 2 ones. Same with the 2/2 token. Could have also gone with the Bone Crusher Giant up to the face here, but I'd rather just have a smattering of good ground blockers. Interesting. Channels the Bousseiju. I'm willing just to get one of these out tapped. So this is going to be a 5/5, which is a little scary. So here it's going to be, if they attack with Spawn, I'll double block. I'm sorry, no, that if it's they have 10 or less life. I don't think I can discard this. Decline. Play this guy. I guess put a counter on this guy. No attacks. Pass. I mean, we're in a really bad spot right now, because we've... This missing a land and hitting a bunch of spells that we couldn't cast together was really brutal. I still don't think it was correct to sack the Touch the Spirit Realm, though. I think we made the right decision. The swinging team for the looks of it. Yeah. Believe I'm dead. Right, because this, I take 5 from this. And that has Menace. I can't block it. Yeah, I'm dead. Okay. Interesting. So we lost a black. I guess the black-green. They're playing Bousseiju. That was their only green card. I guess Vraska. Interesting choice to splash green in your mono black aggro deck. I guess it's kind of free, but like not really. It'd be free if you had like Urborg. So you could get away with a more aggressive second color splash. But it makes sense. You could probably go do like that deck in green or white and gets very similar effects. Sure. This card definitely feels very out of place. Look at this tapped. Really an ambitious farmhand. So I probe against like red aggro. Just play the planes they know about, pass the turn. I have no idea what kind of hand they would have kept that would, quite honestly, be this horrendously slow. I'll kill this token. just gonna play the Rekindling Phoenix. I doubt they have Lava Coil main deck, but like, who knows? They seem to be a much slower red deck. Making a lot of decisions over there. Oh, interesting. They're mono red fires. Cleansing Wildfire. That seems like an odd choice, but alright. I feel like that should have been targeting, like, Den of the Bugbear. So I can either animate Den and attack, but then I can't play this Cavalier next turn anyway, unless I draw an untapped red source. I feel like clocking them is probably my best bet, though. So this turn I can just, like, touch the Spirit Realm and exile the Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. Fire, sure. Golos, sure. And this is gonna go grab Cascading Cataract. Yeah. I'm gonna play this, exile Golos. I'm gonna stomp the Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. Just get in for 6, put them to 3. Now they're just dead on the battlefield, so it's like, you know, now they just have to do something. And they're limited to 2 spells per turn, so... Sure. They gotta kill the Rekindling Phoenix. Chandra, sure. No, that'll do it. I mean, you can't animate Den of the Bugbear. I mean, I guess they can. They'll just die. Nor can you play any more spells. You know, I'm curious to why our opponent's holding priority. Like, they're just holding up the game at this point. Yeah, it feels correct just to go, like, animate Den. Attack them with the Den and put the token on the Chandra. So they have to trade their Den. It's not like they can cast spells right now. That's the weakness of Fires of Invention, is that, you know, you don't get to do anything on your opponent's turn. So here we get to kill the Chandra. We get to put a 1/1 on the battlefield, which doesn't sound like a lot, but actually can be. We are in a position where this Cavalier has sucked hard ass this whole game. Interesting, they paid mana for that. Interesting choice. Sure. I'm willing to just play this down. Take action. Grab a Fires. Put it on top. Play that and pass. Do we even have answers to a Fires of Invention? We really just don't, huh? Interesting choice. So this is just going to be a matchup of 2 ships passing in the night. Oh, interesting. They got a Karn board. See what they wish for. This makes sense. Karn is quite strong with Fires of Invention, just in general. Okay. That's fine. You can't really attack me here. I got a Den still. We'll go ahead and play Fires. How many lands are in here? 2. I'll play this. If this was a land, they'd actually just be dead, but it's not. See if we just draw a Lightning Strike, too, huh? So it's still correct to discard this Fable no matter what. Okay, well... I think we're going to just pass the turn. I could attack. So if I attack, they're just going to trade the Sky Sovereign. They'll take 2, go to 1, wish for something else, and pass. I'm just going to pass. They're still, like... It's not like they can easily do a bunch of stuff. They can only do 2 things per turn. And the Cavalier still puts them to 1, which also means they're dead to a stomp. But, interesting to see what they grab. Shadow Spear. That also makes sense. So it's going to be a play the Shadow Spear, crew, equip to this, attack, trigger, deal 3, gain 3. Okay, now we're just probably dead. Yeah, we're dead. Or if not, we're very, very, very close to it. Okay. I won't lie, our opponent has been playing, and this has been true of all of our opponents, been playing so horrendously fucking slow that it's just irritating. And I really wish they would play faster. Because, like, I don't mind losing on Arena especially, but, like, speed the fuck up. Like, you're not playing fucking 7D chess. You're playing mono red Fires of Invention. Am I dead? Yeah, you got it, champ. Sure, that's not the correct choice to put that on, but hey. The Sky Sovereign was always the correct choice. So the Sky Sovereign would gain 3 life off its trigger. No blocks. No reason to block here. Yeah. I'll take 17. They gain 9, going up to 12. And they're dead on the crackback. I feel like they could have not died there if they had chosen to. No reason to show them anything. Yeah, like, it was a weird choice for them to make. If I was my opponent there, I would have played this. I would have equipped it. I would have played this, crewed this, equipped the Shadow Spear to this, attacked, dealt 3, dealt 6, gained 9, still go up to 12, and then equip this to the Cavalier post-combat, and you have a life-linking blocker. Like, they played way too aggressively was what happened there. We don't have any answers to their stuff. So I think just, like, being able to go over the top is probably good enough. So, like, the second Kenrith, the Rekindling Phoenix, Showdown of the Scalds. Containment Priest, I don't think does anything against them, right? Yeah. All these things that are cast. Lightning Strike seems particularly bad here. But Stomp is probably just as bad. I think we'll just cut 3. Cut 3 Lightning Strikes. It's probably worth just to cut this, play the one Fateful Absence. Not a big fan of Fateful Absence, but it is a, it's better here than a Lightning Strike. Despite them, you know, our opponent sat at 3 life for a while, right? So Lightning Strike would have killed them, but that's... Chances are is that when somebody dies in this matchup, they're probably going to die in real life, naturally. Because if you die in the game, you die in real life, chat. This feels like a Cleansing Wildfire on their Cascading Cataracts. So this is the reason that they're mono red, is that they get to do this trick. Or that gets to be a Rampant Growth that draws a card. Which is really strong, to be fair. Like, it's a very tempting reason to play the Cleansing Wildfire package. Good golly gee. Are you going to minus on my Ambitious Farmhand? No? Okay. You just stomp my Ambitious Farmhand? Well, that's just mean. Big sad Bone Crusher Giant days, boy. Ideally, they minus on this, believe it or not. I won't lie, though. I think I actually favor their deck here. I also favor whoever wins the die roll, but I don't know if I favor that the same, but ooh, a Field of Ruin is quite strong. Because, like, here they got to not only be ahead, they got to do their Cleansing Wildfire thing. So they got to do two very powerful things over our kind of three not-so-powerful things. But good news is they haven't hit a fires yet, so... Well, that's not a good sign. Cleansing Wildfire. I'm actually fine with this. It definitely feels like... It feels like if we had the tapped Indestructible Lands or like Darksteel Citadel, we'd probably see that stuff show up more. Please just give your stuff haste and attack. I will gladly trade with a Bone Crusher Giant. Wow, that feels like a bad attack, but alright. They get to do 7, but like, I wouldn't block this if they just attacked with this. Actually, I suppose I would, to be fair, right? I should actually correct myself. I would for sure 100% attack. Do that, this feels like an easy dump all 4 of these cards to draw 4 cards. I like all of these. Kelter Chandra. Just the Chandra, like this isn't... So this is an example of a game that isn't about Fires of Invention. Whenever our opponent picks up on the fact that we only play 4 basics and 3 of them are in play, there's a good chance that they might figure that out and start aggressively Field of Ruining us, which is actually correct. If I was our opponent, I would be aggressively Field of Ruining people. That if you're gonna play this card, you should very aggressively utilize it when you feel your opponent doesn't have a lot of basic lands in their deck. And fun fact, unless you're playing a monocolored or mostly monocolored deck, your deck probably doesn't have very many basic lands in it. Despite the fact that you're like a 2-color deck. Opponent's really thinking on this one. They seem to be on the struggle bus. Yeah, their last turn didn't go so hot. And me windfalling my hand into a I'll trade with your guy and dome you for 5. Because now when this dies, I just get to Lava Axe them for my trouble. And now next turn I have like Fires into Kenrith. Kenrith isn't actually all that good here. I'd probably go Fires into Cavalier. I still think, yeah, I just go like Fires. Feels like our opponent has given up on this game, because, you know, they're... By the way, if you don't want to play the match you're in anymore, just stop and concede. Just, like, don't go AFK, don't close your client mid-match, because you're tilting. You know, be the better person and just concede. I've never in my life even considered it a reasonable thing to do where you just, like, rope your opponent. Because that's, like, the single most disrespectful thing you can do. And personally, I feel like that if you time out a lot, and, like, you lose matches from timing out a lot, I feel like Arena should just flag your account for being an account that times out a lot. And that they should subsequently, like, mark your account in some way. I mean, I'm willing to attack. Yeah, they're not even there. Right. Opponent's very clearly checked out. Yeah, I feel that's a big thing, cause like I've had matches, so many matches on Arena that I lose count where, you know, like I've had people just rope out and time out the match. But it's just like a big one is like I've even had, like, since Paper Magic has come back, I've even experienced a lot of toxic tilt behaviors. It's one thing to get tilted. It's normal to get a little frustrated when you're playing competitive Magic. Now, you're playing, the ranked queue on Arena, meaning this match has, like, next to no stakes. And, well, just in general, it definitely feels like the fact that more people play Arena, more people play these stake-free matches, and now, like, a lot of these toxic behaviors of, I'm just going to sit here and waste 5 minutes of my opponent's time because I'm not having fun, because my deck is losing. That's like a big factor. Like, even as, like, probably the worst thing I've experienced more recently was, recently I played in the inaugural, or not even inaugural, the very first Mason Forge TCG series, which was, a modern event I played. So, a friend owns, Mason Forge, so, which you can find them on TCG Player, by the way, Mason Forge. And my finals opponent lost game 1, proceeded to complain a lot about losing game 1, even using some vulgarity, and this is competitive REL, and I'm friends with the judge, and I didn't want to necessarily say anything, because I didn't want to make it seem like the judge and I had something against my opponent. But, sadly, he's kind of known for the toxic behavior that he displays when he's losing. But apparently he was about this close to tilting enough to being disqualified in the finals, which is the last thing you want to have happen on account of the fact that means you wouldn't even get any prize money. So definitely something that you want to be careful of. But yeah, I've experienced a lot of that since Tabletop Magic has come back, the COVID years were not good for player behavior. But if you're upset, it's okay to be upset and frustrated sometimes when you lose a match, especially one with stakes. It's frustrating and it's crushing. But you got to learn to channel that. We call that, you gather complaint equity. And so on the car ride home, you could talk to your buddies about how if you had totally ripped that best card in your deck at that one turn, then you would have totally won the game. But instead you drew a land and you sucked and died. Like, it's just the way it goes. I really like this Boros Fires deck. I think this is I think this needs to be tuned a little more, but I generally like this package with Moonblessed Cleric and Fires of Invention. I don't know if just straight Boros is where I'd want to be with it, though. I also feel like this deck could also just be playing Golos. Feels pretty free. Alright, now we're going to go into another deck here. This is a list. I forget where this list showed up, but I had it saved on my phone. So we're going to try it. This one I'm not very confident in, though. It's this is like a 4-color mid-range. Like, this is like somewhat of a Omnath, like, Elementals deck, but, like, also is just like it's like a mid-range deck that's, like, all in on Omnath, basically. Which I'm not sure how I feel about that. This was actually a mulligan, but it's fine. Oh, I'm up against another Golgari deck. This can go and get a forest. I am not feeling good about the start of this match. Mostly because I should have mulliganed, but that's my own fault. Best draw is probably Botanical Sanctum. Wow, that's or I could draw Stomping Ground. That's kind of like a Botanical Sanctum. So luckily this blocks the token. It does just get Fatal Pushed, but there's a chance that this is just play Lovestruck Beast and attack for 3. No, this is, okay, we're up against this deck. Okay, this is the Fight Rigging deck. I kept a horrible hand. No thank you. So if they just have Fight Rigging, they're gonna get to do the thing. I'm not sure how I feel about these Fight Rigging decks. They're very strong. Like, when you're up against a deck that has no way of killing your creatures, but if you're up against a deck with removal, this deck feels like it just sucks hard. Alright, so put the counter on this heavy. Shakedown Heavy is also a deceptively good card. It's just sadly, at least in Explorer, it just doesn't line up well. See, that's a sign that that's a bad card. So here they're going to get the draw card. I think I'm going to decline and then just double block. I'm willing just to trade with the Shakedown Heavy. I'm like a million years behind on this battlefield. And this isn't helping. Yeah, I'm willing to discard these two. We're kind of beyond the point in the game where those are going to be helpful. I'll play Yasharn. At the very least, can block this. Noticing a problem with our mana, though. We have no blue mana. I did discard our fixing, but it definitely feels like it's just a bit too slow. Yeah, we're just going to block the 4-4. Feels like we're going to lose this game. It's because we have 3 uncastable cards in our hand. Which is a big factor. Okay, now I know we're going to lose this game, so I'm going to concede it. Okay, so this is a fight rigging deck. Aether Gust seems strong. Lava Coil looks good. What looks bad? Scooz does nothing, and Clothis does nothing. So we can start there. Yasharn doesn't do anything. And I guess I'll cut. How many lands am I playing? 25 plus 4 Tangled Florahedrons. I think I'll cut. I'm on the play. I'll cut a Florahedron. I think this list, I think I saw it somewhere on like a Magic like Reddit page. And I think the idea here is somebody desperately wants their 4-color Omnath deck to be good. Like, in this format, like, they probably play it a lot in, I think this hand is unkeepable. This feels a lot more like what we're supposed to be keeping. I think it's this breeding pool. So we can go like Jasper, Sentinel, pass. And be slightly embarrassed by our deck. And then next turn we'll go like Boulderloft, Pathway, Tangled Florahedron. And I can play the second Jasper Sentinel here. So now we're in a position that if we draw exactly the Omnath, the 4-color Omnath, we can play it. That is sadly not the 4-color Omnath. Still gonna play it. Make a red. Play this. Trigger. Another red. A green. Play Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Have an effective double block. Just sort of in the dark, but other than that, we just sort of have nothing, because we mulliganed and played Fable. This card punishes you for mulliganing really hard. It's one of the, like, probably the most brutal aspects of this card. Shakedown Heavy, sure. I'm willing to double block if they're willing to offer it. Aether Gust, sure. I'm going to decline this. Yeah, I'll put the Gigantha in my hand. I think having the 5/5 is probably fine. If they play a fight rigging, I can Aether Gust it to the top of their deck or the bottom, I guess, wherever they want it to go. But Might even be within my best interests to let the spell go on the stack, and then I'll either gust that for $1. I'm just gonna do this now, because I don't think it's getting any better. Like, I could hold it for an Omnath, I guess, but like, we're losing hard, and I don't think one trigger of gaining life on an Omnath is realistically gonna do the trick here. Blue... Aether Gust, target the Great Henge. It's going straight to the top of their library for sure, but... Oh, interesting, they put it on the bottom of their library. I'm still willing to double block. Decline, double block. Fatal push me? Yup. No, they're just reordering the blockers. Well, that's good news for us. Make a 1/1, sure. Island seems about right. Play Gigantha. And Cry. This deck is horrible. Like, we got a Reflection of Kiki-Jiki active, but like, there's not a single thing I would like want to copy. Like, I guess if I rip Arisen Reef and I'm just like the greatest player of all time because of it, would be fine. But yeah, like, this package of elementals feels very bad. I'm not gonna play another match with this deck because this deck fucking sucks. Decline, and I'm willing, I guess, to double block. So this Gigantha really isn't gonna get any better. I mean, my companion traded with something, so like my companion made up for my mulligan, kind of. Which I'll pretend, but, you know, it's more me lying to myself than it. So that thing's a 5/5. I have no way of dealing with a 5/5. Sick. This deck's fucking horrible. Like, I think I drew lands every turn, except for that Aether Gust. Yeah, we're not playing another one with this one. I can already tell you that I'm just going to delete it and pretend that I never found it online. Oh, cool. What did I get? Oh, hell yeah. Even the score. That card that isn't even, like, playable in Commander or any format where that... Card's not even good where that text would be relevant. Like, that's how bad of a card it is. Why did that reset? Explorer ranked, because why would I play anything else? I think I want to go Rakdos. I don't want to play a long match. I got 2 mid-range decks. But, so this is going to be the one time I get paired up against a creatureless deck, right? You think Wizards of the Coast uses the Blizzard pairing algorithm? Oh, yeah! Yorion Control. Fuck my life. I hate this deck so goddamn. I hate this card so much. Zero reason for that card to exist. Like, actual zero. Woo! No second land, baby. Well, it's attacking, so... See what they do. They do nothing. Play another Witch's Oven. Play a Voldaren Epicure. They do nothing. Woo! Growth Spiral. So much fun. What are they on, like a Yorion... Temur Fires with Yorion or whatever? feel like that's just a bad thing to be playing. Gotta love them sorcery speed growth spirals, chat. That's how you know you're winning. I love how many decks get to play Gigantha. I'm playing a deck in Modern right now, the Esper Food deck, that if you follow Aspiring Spike, you've probably seen. And that's a straight up deck. That's just a deck that can, like, it can barely cast a Gigantha. And the only reason it could cast Gigantha is strictly because of Springleaf Drum, which is very amusing to me. I've also been playing this deck a lot in Paper, and by gosh, do I miss being able to shorthand this. I love how I have 2 lands, missed a land drop, and yet I feel like I'm probably still winning this game. Get in for 2. Play a Mayhem Devil. Pass the turn. Generally be winning. Sack 1, sack 2, 3. So I've got 6 points of burn on the battlefield. They are dead. Why are we still playing? So they have no spells they can cast here, to clarify. Right up top. I could kill this Yorion if I really wanted to, but I'm not going to. Just kill them. Now I'm attacking, so I'm attacking with at least these 1/1s. Actually, suppose they have a Fires in play. There's literally nothing they can do to stop themselves from losing here. Alright. I mean, I'll just send it. Boom. Triggers. Make a black mana. Up top. Sack this guy. Up top. I don't know why we bothered to do all this. See, this is like a thing where you should, like, if you're dead, you should just concede. Because, like, all my opponent did was make me, like, do arithmetic there, and, like, I'm fairly certain that I'm not 7, so this is a matchup where Thoughtseize can be quite strong, so I'll bring it in. Not as certain about Duress, because a lot of the stuff that goes with Fires of Invention tends to be, like, non-creatures. Though looking at our, I'm sorry, it tends to be, like, big creatures. Though looking at exactly what we've sideboarded, I think I'll actually go with that. So, biggest pain card for us to have to deal with would probably be, like, a Grafdigger's Cage, but they're a Yorion deck, so to be perfectly honest, they probably don't have a lot of sideboard hate that they can reliably get. I think this is fine. The Witness is really strong with the Deadly Dispute, so... Also got Omnixilis. Would love to have drawn some, like, Hand Disruption, but luckily we've got, like, a really explosive turn 2 going into turn 3. To your next end, so my next end step. That card's not very good against me, so I don't know why they bothered playing it. Yep, I feel like I could just pass. I can just Deadly Dispute on their turn. There's no way they're playing, like, counter magic. I'm shocked. If you aren't playing anything, you should buy that Yorion. Like, alright, I'll attempt to resolve a Deadly Dispute. That was the single worst case scenario for, like, cards I could hit there. Feels about right, man. Alright, well, this is Shock, play Mayhem Devil. And Duress our opponent. Which conveniently deals 1 to them. If you don't have a removal spell here, then what do you have? You have Fire Prophecy. Sure. Choosing to whether or not they put a card back now. So best case scenario, this Duress hits a Fires of Invention. They just get sort of stranded with a bunch of clunky stuff. What do they got? They got a Titan of Industry. Interesting. They can grow that thing. It's just whatever. They aren't hitting anything relevant. I don't like this card against this deck. I think like it's probably fine to bring it in if you have nothing else to bring in. But I don't think it's a good card, like, just generally. So this is, play a land by the Orient. Hope I don't have a Thoughtseize or something. Now, ask and you shall receive. I actually think it's correct, though, to go Epicure into Deadly Dispute first. And here we'll sack the blood token. So now I get to draw 2. Get a treasure. Don't need the treasure. Hit another on Ob Nixilis, though. Go ahead and Thoughtseize our opponent. Hit a Fires of Invention, too. That's a little scary. I can deal with this Fires. I can't really deal with a Yorion right now. So best case scenario, I feel like, is we draw a land. Like an untapped land would be really solid here. Because then I could go like Devil into Casualty of the Ob Nixilis using this 1-1. What'd you draw? What's your follow-up? Luckily, they're 2 turns away. And they'd have to hit Runner, Land. Oh, that's fine. That card has diminishing returns, so it's fine. Aha. Well, I feel like we can start with an attack for 1. I think I'll just play Mayhem Devil and Thoughtseize them. We're gonna start gaining a bunch of life, so I don't mind like pissing away a bunch of life on Thoughtseizes. So now they're at the mercy of the top of their library, which can still be a little scary if they hit something like a Cavalier here. But, as well as, like, these are getting really big. I'm a little surprised we don't have anything to deal with artifacts in our sideboard. I think this list was, like, heavily inspired by the, deck that top-8'd the NRG over the weekend in Pioneer. Well, that could be anything. But it could be a land. Alright, untapped land, still best draw. Okay, that's fine. Well, I mean, we'll go to combat for 4. Swing in for 4. We'll casualty. Sack the Epicure. Which will conveniently deal 1. And we'll get 2 Ob Nixilis, the adversary. And these are both gonna tick up here. Because we already have a devil. So, okay, that's enough for them, I guess. But, a little surprised that they actually conceded there. They actually have some really good... I suppose I don't know the contents of their deck, to say whether or not it was correct to concede there, because they were, like, light years behind. That was the power of Thoughtseize. Play one more with Rakdos. I'm still a big fan of these Rakdos decks. I was actually really, really happy to see a Rakdos sacrifice, like tried and true, claim the Firstborn plus Witch's Oven deck, do so well in Pioneer. Because that's like, honestly, that's my kind of deck. Well, what are the chances that this is a creatureless deck that we're playing against when their name is Snapcaster Mage? And they got the Narset sleeves. I think this might be hopeful of me, but I'm going to keep the hand with Claim the Firstborn. And then rip a second one anyway. Gosh, Magic is a great game. Oh, fuck me. That's a Doomscar. And we ripped that. I might just straight up concede right now, just to get it over with, but... I'm going to play this Epicure, because it'll let me, like, dump this Fatal... So, what's weird here is that it's correct to dump Fatal Push first. Because, like, Claim the Firstborn can, at the very least, take away, can hit Shark tokens. or you can just like target your own things with it to give them haste. Because like all of our creatures actually have meet the clause. Attack for 1. Play a Kroxa. Trigger. March of... Wow, that's interesting choice, actually. That tells me a little bit about their hand. That tells me that they don't give a shit about Kroxas. Or that they have a million ways to deal with our stuff. I'm fine with this. Again, Claim can take these. If I draw like a Witch's Oven, or like next turn what I can do is I can claim this and then sack it to Deadly Dispute, which in either case scenario I will get the, it'll still kill the Shark token. But I don't let any chance you can use your Claim the Firstborns in a matchup like this, the better. Alright, and then, yeah, I mean, I'll attempt this. Chances are it gets countered. If this is an untapped land, I would have played it first, but it's not. Ooh, right on time with the swamps. I think I'm willing to just play another one of these. Use up the treasure, but, like, it's fine. Like, we're building steadily towards this Kroxa being active in our graveyard. Well, they did want a Fateful Absence or creatures. Wandering Emperor. That's a liability. Would love to draw another sack outlet. Best case scenario, that sack outlet is named Ob Nixilis, the adversary. Second best case scenario is our opponent doesn't have a 5th land. Sure. Sure. Oh, but it's tapped. Ooh, that was a good draw. I think I'm willing to play this and see what happens. I don't mind if they counter this. Interesting choice. See what happens when I do this. Please don't censor me. Oh, do they got something? They got like a march. That feels like a weird choice, but alright. Attack the Emperor. Oh, please Field of Ruin me. Opponent doesn't know how Mayhem Devil works. Mayhem Devil is, in fact, symmetrical. Always, if you're going to Field of Ruin, always Field of Ruin when the Mayhem Devil is on the stack. It is never correct to give me that free point of damage. Because now they're in a position where I just have a Mayhem Devil and I cleared the only thing that was producing pressure, while simultaneously having cleared their hand. Play this Unlucky Witness. Play this Castle. Attack for 3. Connect for 3? The Wandering Emperor. Sure. Sure. This felt like a weird timing thing, but alright. This is until my next end step, okay. Oh, double Ob Nixilis, the adversary. I'll just kill your Wandering Emperor and just get it over with. I just made some really interesting choices, we'll say. Watch out, Dad, I'm chipping in. I'm going to attack for 3 first. I was willing to see what they'd do. Casualty, sack this guy, trigger, kill the 2/2. So the best card in our deck is Ob Nixilis in a matchup like this, because, like, this casualty thing, being able to, like, you know, oh gosh, and they don't even have the response. Alright, this is the token. Alright, this one's gonna make a 1/1. This one's gonna plus. Oh wow, they didn't even want to entertain the idea of discarding a card. I feel like I would have did that on the stack. Like, of the second effect. Because it's like, I have 1 land and 1 card in my hand. So, like, unless that 1 card is Thoughtseize, which I guess there is a chance that that's the case, but, you know. Wow, main deck Unlicensed Hearse. I'm not surprised by that, I guess. It's still terrible, but, like... So actually, I suppose they're gonna hit both my Croxes here. That's actually not too bad. I mean, I'm killing them steadily, but, like, it's fine. Watch out, Dad, I'm chipping in. Got rid of the Aganjo. Fascinating. Didn't even need the Croaks. Definitely is a hit that, like, lose the Croakses here, but, like, because that's, like, been our, like, looming pressure, but that's, like, the only thing this card's really all that good against. Watch out, Dad, I'm chipping in. Plus. Oh, I should have activated the castle there, but that's a choice. Sure. There's nothing I can do in response to this. Realistically. This feels like now they're gonna discard a card. Weird that that's over there. Plus. Just at the old casual 30 life here. Buy an elk. Pass. This is almost assuredly a Doomscar. So, I doubt I'm going to even play this Gigantha, but, like, I'll still take it. Alright, so how do we proceed through this turn? So if they can't make a 1/1 an attack. If they animate Haul an attack, I can just kill the thing. Sure, you got a 2/2. Sure. Interesting decisions. Here I'm just gonna kill the Unlicensers. Bippity pop. Ooh, they got an Absorb. That's pretty brutal. Sure. That's fine. It's gonna happen. Can't really stop it, so. And we'll go to my turn. Plus. I think I'm willing to just play Gigantha. And play a tap land and pass. They've got no cards in hand, huh? So now they're kind of priced into having to attack with the shark and not attack with this hearse. Because this is threatening to just burn them out. It's already doing that, but like... This way they're only presenting 2 damage to go at Ob Nixilis instead of more. Yeah, I'll sacrifice this guy to deal 1 to you. Sure. Attempt to do this. If they have a counter spell, they just have it. Brutal. I think that might be it, right? I suppose it was correct to probably plus this first, but I suppose whatever this is, they can't really afford. Oh, it's a memory deluge. It's a pretty good one. Gosh, pretty brutal that we haven't had any creature lands. Okay. Can't kill them, but I think I can go like this first. Yeah. If I draw like a Deadly Dispute, I think I could kill them. Well, that also kills them. Remember what I said, Chad, about targeting your own stuff with Claim the Firstborn? It's come full circle. I start it with the obscure reference to a play that you should like only ever make in the one matchup, and it comes full circle. It's some combination of these, right? Might even be Village Rites. It feels weird because like I don't want to keep these in, but that leaves me like with no answers to Shark tokens other than to Mayhem Devil them. I think I'm willing to keep like 2 Fatal Pushes in just to deal with Shark tokens at instant speed, but I definitely don't want a lot of effects to do that. I love that our Croxes in that game were effectively just really shitty burglar rats that don't even stay on the battlefield. Makes for quite the exciting review of Croxa. This will probably be our last match for the night. We tried out a couple of decks, so I'll probably talk about the decks we played, and I'll probably talk a little bit about the decks we didn't play. And the reason we didn't play those decks is because I didn't want to have this stream be like 4 matches long. We at least got, I think this will be our 7th match that we played tonight. It's definitely a deck that I'm very interested in iterating on long term. Alright, so this is a Den of the Bugbear and a Takenuma. Both things I'm really interested in for my long term game plan, so I think I'm willing to keep it. An Epicure plus Witch's Oven is, you know, still just fine. Play this. Basically has haste, the Voldaren Epicure. And this blood token is not nothing. R.I.P. That's pretty brutal. Well, that makes this Witch's Oven, and especially... This is the one thing I don't like about this card, is that it's really bad against this. But I'm actually surprised to see this. Alright, we'll get in for one. Also makes these Takenumas really bad. So I'm gonna play the Witch's Oven, but... Yeah, this version of the deck is definitely super, super not great against Rest in Peace, we'll say. Is this a Field of Ruin? Target my Den of the Bugbear on your own turn? Oh, Portable Hole, sure. You got it. I feel like you could have Field of Ruin there. That's, like, totally fine. I don't know if our opponent knows this, but that card's, like, hella bad in this matchup now. I mean, I'm gonna send the nerds across. Do you have a sensor in your hand? Nope, Cycle Irrigated Farmland. That's cool. Luckily, in this format, we really don't have to play around 4 mana Wraths. This isn't Historic, where Wrath of God is legal. And Day of Judgment. Holy God. Okay. Do they have a second white source? They don't. Interesting. See, I think our opponent's actually getting punished for that cycle there, if I'm being honest. Okay, I'm gonna crack this and discard Takenuma here. Takanuma's feeling real bad, and Takanuma's just a shitty swamp. Duress. Duress is good. I think I'm willing to Duress here. What you got going on there, boss? Is there a memory deluge that I can take from you? So that's probably the best hit here. It's just like a 4-mana draw 2. March of Otherworldly Light. They have the Aganja, so they have the Sweeper. I think I'm willing to just take this Memory Deluge. Right? Yeah, I'll take this. I'll play the 1-for-1 game. Play a second copy of Den of the Bugbear here, and ooh, that's a bad choice, but alright. I'm game. Really? Okay, I'll attack for 1. Let's think here. If I do this, actually, if I'll just force the Aganjo out of their hand, like they can't field of. Actually, I should have attacked the Den of the Bugbear, but here, at least this way, I can still buy Gigantha, so it's not like a total loss, but play a 1-1. Still pressuring them. Got them down to 8, attacking for 2, so they're on a 4-turn clock. They discarded their 5th land. Please play the Doomscar. You're seeing, by the way, that Rest in Peace is not actually very effective against us. Despite that we have a version of the deck that's quite soft to it. I'm willing to feed them this if they're looking to blow it up. Sure. I don't have any effects, so I'm just gonna let it happen. I'll grab a swamp. Send it in for 2. So here's the thing, is that right now they're just trading a bunch of 1-for-1 stuff with my stuff. And that's not like a positive resource exchange, right? Because like a lot of my stuff is definitely not worth like the level of what their stuff is worth. Alright, you got a march? They don't, so they're dead even with that Hall of the Storm Giants now, so. Because now if I attack, I have 2 1-1s coming in tapped and attack. Ooh, that's brutal. Ooh, grody. Where's the that's disgusting emote? I'm just gonna play Gigantha, play an Unlucky Witness, and pass. I'm gonna have to let them attack me with that, but they're probably just gonna hold it back. So the best case scenario here is I can animate Den and attack with all my little guys. Oh, they are getting aggressive. I respect that. That's gonna put them up to 7. They got the Hall to block with. Plays Doomscar? Ah, that's brutal. But can they do both? I don't. Right, let me think here. So if I attack, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they can't do both of these things. Only one of them. And any one of those things individually leaves them dead. Sure. Yeah, that's fine. So unless they have another answer in their hand, which is possible, this game is over, but otherwise they are dead. Because this is not enough mana to activate Hall of the Storm Giants. And block with it. Okay, they can cycle this for 1, sure. So there's a chump block. So they're in this still. Especially now, because now they're going to gain up to 9. Or rather up to 10. This is such a nombo with Rest in Peace. Like, this is why I know these decks don't really play this card. Is because it's just so horrendously bad with that card. Like, This card is also just not very effective. Like, just in general. So I think we can't race this. Because there's no good way for us to deal with a Dream Trawler, but I'll play it out for like another turn. And that Field of Ruin from them was pretty devastating. Yeah, that's enough. I'm willing to pack that in. So I think, am I willing to bring this in, right? What's this guy do? What was the discard a card gains hexproof? Yeah, I don't think that's... despite the Dream Trawler, I still don't think Noxious Grasp is an effective answer. Maybe it's better than Fatal Push, but this can't deal with Shark tokens or like the Hall of the Storm Giants. So I still don't think it's worth bringing in Noxious Grasp. But I suppose it taps it, doesn't it, huh? Yeah, maybe it was worth bringing it in over Fatal Push. I don't know, personally I feel like the part of the game that I really care about is not the, like, super deep late in the game, like, Dream Trawler on 6. Like, that's not, like, the thing I really care about. Alright, I'm going to attack first. And we'll play this, and we'll duress them. What you got going on over here? Poggers. I think I'm willing just to take... So if I take this Aether Gust, they're just going to Portable Hole my thing and play a tap land. If I take the Portable Hole, they're going to Aether Gust probably the token copy, so I think that's more favorable for me, though. Because there they still shock, and like... I think I'll go to combat and see if they do it. The other thing I could do is punish them holding up Aether Gust and just play Cauldron Familiar. I actually think I like that better. And then during their turn, I can, like, Deadly Dispute this blood token away. To bait out, like, an Absorb. And if they put this on top, I think that's fine. I think I'll let it sit on top of my library. Oh, wow, they seem to be feeling kind of silly. So this gives me all heads-up info. I think I'm willing to just sacrifice this to keep it in my graveyard. I get to draw 2 cards, too. Sick. Pass the turn. That's a really good draw for them, actually. I think I'm willing to attack first again. Start with a Thoughtseize. See what they do. They didn't take the Aether Gust. They didn't take the opportunity to Aether Gust. So I could either hit this Memory Deluge and play Obnixilis, have the token copy bounced with Aether Gust, or I could hit this Aether Gust, play the Obnixilis. They take 4, go to 9, but then they can just start building back. So I think I leave this, and I just, like, take one of these, and I think I'm more interested in taking this Teferi. It offers the most long-term card advantage. Yeah, I'm willing to just adversary this guy. We'll casualty this dude. Because the thing here is that even if they do that Aether Gust play, like, that's not even, like, all that effective. Oh, please Aether Gust the non-token copy. Oh, thank you. That was the wrong one to do that with. End the turn. Oh, plus. Willing to plus here. Okay, they're willing to just do the thing, just to take the 2. I'm willing to just play out a second copy. No casualty here. Absorb. That's fine. That was effectively a 2-for-1. I'm gonna do this in case I hit a Thoughtseize or Duress. I can take this Deluge. I didn't hit either, but I did hit a land. And that land's gonna let me play the switches of it. I'm still fine with this. We're still in a fine position. Let's start with a Voldaren Epic here. It's a neutral exchange on this Authority of the Consuls. I'm willing to start with the plus. I'm a little surprised they actually didn't do this at sorcery speed, if I'm being quite honest with you. I'm gonna casualty this on. This is why you don't bounce the. This is why you bounce the token copy that's on the stack, not the normal one. Because the normal one is what's the word I'm looking for? An actual real card that I can play again. Like here, like they gave it back to me, and I got to. I'm willing to make a 1/1. It technically puts them to 11, but when this dies, they're gonna go right back down to 10. And now I have just 3 Ob Nixiluses in play, and there's no good way for them to answer this. They don't have like a sweeper that deals with things. That tells me they have a couple of lands in hand. And that they didn't have one last turn, by the way, just to clarify. That means they probably drew that Search for Azcanta and then had the Memory Deluge. Again, I don't know why our opponent didn't just run the Deluge out at sorcery speed. That felt like... It feels like if your choice as the control player is to play no lands or cast your, like, Deluge to maybe play a land and still have 2 cards in your hand, like... like, bluffing the counter spell there is, like, I'm just gonna make you do it. Like, you either have it, play it, and I don't care, because I just know you're, like, never casting this Deluge, or you play the thing, you get over yourself, and stop thinking you're super clever for holding up mana, and just, like, play the thing at sorcery speed. Maybe our opponent's like a newer control player, because that's like very much a veteran control player decision. Alright, let's talk about the decks we played. So we played a 4th deck, but we deleted that shit. That shit was terrible. But we played through Rakdos, Greasefang, and Boros Fires. I think we'll start with Greasefang. This is the first deck we played. I don't really see these decks changing all that much, and I don't see these decks getting better. So, like, this deck was for a while there considered, like, the tier 1, or the tier 0 deck of the format, even, and I just don't see it anymore. Like, it feels like what this deck does is super powerful, but, like, literally every deck is prepared to play against it at this point. Like, even our control opponent had main deck Unlicensed Hearse. So it's just, like, maybe we're not in a position where this deck's very good anymore. And again, it's the thing we talked about was, like, this deck does a powerful thing very linearly, and even gets to play, like, Thoughtseize as Disruption. So it's, like, what it's doing is objectively powerful, but, like, when it's such a known quantity and people are ready to play against it, this deck is super disruptible on multiple axes, and it sort of it's so good that it pushed itself out of the format. So it's not a deck I foresee myself continuing to play, even to the degree that I think I'm just going to delete it out of the queue. And I just don't want to even bother playing with it anymore. I do think something like these, like, Esper Greasefang decks maybe have the potential of, sort of burgeoning into the version of Greasefang that takes dominance, because those decks get to play more like an Esper mid-range deck, that happens to have the Greasefang combo in it, and a few ways to enable getting the Greasefang combo executed. So I think that's fine, but that's definitely, like, there's a lot to talk about, and that deck's a very tricky deck to make good, I think. But I think that's a version of the deck I'd be very interested in tinkering around with more, which we'll probably do on future streams. The second deck we played, Boros Fires. This deck was good. It felt good. The game plan feels really sound. These cards looked awkward on paper, but actually played fairly effectively. I like Bone Crusher Giant. So a big thing before was that you always played like Bone Crusher Giant to like set up plays, where you could like Bone Crusher something on 2, play the you stomp something on 2, play the Bone Crusher on 3, just to sort of bog down the battlefield. Then play the Fires of Invention on 4, and then play another 4-drop. So like that still feels really relevant to the deck. So it definitely feels like maybe that's something I want more copies of. But Lightning Strike still felt really strong. But I could easily see like this being like 2 more Bone Crusher Giants and then like 2 copies of Lava Coil. For example, just something that like deals 4, which gets us past that toughness barrier that we sometimes run into, as well as a way to exile a threat, like say opposing Rekindling Phoenix. The farmhand seems fine. It's just a way to ensure you're curving into that 3rd land drop, and it also makes Clifftop Retreat a lot better, because if I can go like turn 1, we'll say, as well as Castle Ardenvale, if I go like turn 1, Den, turn 2, Pillar Verge Pathway, Ambitious Farmhand, grab my plains. Now, like things like my future Clifftop Retreats and Castle Ardenvale enter the battlefield untapped. So this deck felt really strong, and it's a deck I actually really want to keep iterating on. It feels like Fires of Invention is a part of the metagame. Just gotta crack the code is the best way of playing it. So what the things that I really liked, I really liked Moonblessed Cleric. It goes really well with Fires of Invention, just being like a really good turn 3 play to guarantee that you set up a Fires of Invention for turn 4, even if they kill this. So that felt really good. The 4-drops, I really like the idea of playing Legion Angel, at least on the ladder. If I was playing in a closed field tournament, I might consider cutting the Angels out of the main board to make more room. But I definitely like Legion Angel, and I thought it was a really, I think it's a really cool way to take advantage of Fires of Invention, of just being able to go, like, Fires into a Legion Angel on 4, and then get another Legion Angel, and then my next turn is by default, like, Legion Angel, with a backup one in my hand still. It's just, like, a really fluid combo, and it fits right into our color combination, so even in a world where, say, we don't have this, Legion Angel is still a serviceable threat. And Rekindling Phoenix feels really good, too. I'm not sure about the one in the board. That felt a little awkward. I don't think we ever really need 4 copies of this, but it is still really strong in general. And Showdown of the Scalds, this is a really good card. Like, this is I don't think people will understand exactly how good this card is. This is a card that I have copies of sitting on the table behind me, because they're so good that I might consider playing them in certain modern decks. Like, if I was, like, it's that good that it's almost to that point. Definitely going to be a card that I'm really excited to see if it finds a home somewhere in Pioneer, and of course Explorer. Other things that I like to Touch the Spirit Realm. It's kind of cool having this, like, a tutorable removal spell. Seems really strong with Moonblessed Cleric. I wouldn't mind seeing this maybe being something else, or expanding on that idea a little bit more. Kenrith and Cavalier, a tale as old as time. I could see playing another Kenrith, though, like going up to 2 copies of Kenrith over this Cavalier of Dawn, but I feel like the Cavalier, like, this card feels like it's probably better belongs in the sideboard with, like, a few copies of it, versus, like, a strict one of that, like, I can't search for. And then Ox felt really strong as well. Just Ox, like, being, like, a spell that almost guarantees we're going to at least have another spell to play seemed really good, and the one game we had managed to actually get it, it seemed fine. Fable is another story. Fable feels super awkward in the deck. It's good. It's a good card, especially when it flips and you can start copying stuff like Cavaliers, Ox of Aganos, Rekindling Phoenix, especially, because it actually makes the token. You can get back other Rekindling Phoenixes from your graveyard, even like Legion Angel by extension, and Bone Crusher Giant. So it's like definitely a strong card. but I could see maybe trimming a copy because it's a little clunky at times. Especially if we go up on Bone Crusher Giants. So it definitely feels like, just having played through it, I really like a lot of the elements of this deck, but I feel like where I want to make some of the tweaks is like, maybe this Cavalier is something else. The farmhand seems strong. I like being able to guarantee that I have my lands. It lets me keep maybe land light hands with fires. And that seems really good. I feel like these are just like, could be other things. But, like, I could see being, like, again, like 2 more copies of this. But that makes this feel like it has to have, like, get trimmed a copy. We'll think about it. But there's definitely an idea that I really want to keep playing around with for sure. And then the last deck we played here, Rakdos Sacrifice. This is a classic. I believe this is almost card for card the exact mainlet. Yeah, this is card for card besides this Castle Locthwain, a recreation of the Pioneer. I believe it took 4th place at the Pioneer NRG over the weekend. This would have been an Urborg, which hopefully in the Pioneer Summer card drop for Arena we will get Urborg and we will not have to sub it out anymore. But I like this main deck a lot. This main deck is ready to play against creature decks. I am a little reluctant on cards like Unlucky Witness, but I do think it's fine in like these versions of the deck especially. The sideboard definitely could be retooled. This felt really strong. I really like this against control decks. I don't think we ever need a 4th copy of these, because like we already have 6 ways of dealing with small creatures, and I don't think we need 8. Feels like these could be better served as something else, like maybe a way of dealing with a Rest in Peace, or like a Graph Digger's Cage, so something like in that vein, like a Kolaghan's Command. I like that this version gets to play 4 Ob Nixilis. This really improves your control matchup quite a bit. But, yeah, all in all, really fun deck, though. Really big fan of this strategy in general. Alright. Again, another one that I'm going to be very, very excited to keep iterating on. We also had a Jund Food deck. So this one came from Arn Huschenbeth from Channel Fireball. And what really attracted me to this is, ignore the lands for a second. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. All 4 ofs. I love it. I absolutely love it. It is, honestly, one of my favorite things if you can build a deck that is all 4s, because this is a lean deck. It does its exact game plan very consistently, and surprisingly, not surprisingly, this deck dominates creature matchups. Like, even against things like Greasefang, like, you just, like, kill their Greasefang before combat regularly. And it's in a color combination that actually offers a really, like, solid, set of, like, interaction. Like, you get cards like Thoughtseize, of course, Fatal Push, the classic black stuff. Doomblade, a surprisingly good card. Even like Abrade, Binding the Old Gods, Vraska, and Licensed First. You get access to a lot, and you even get a Gigantha for your troubles. I could see cutting Gigantha to make space in your sideboard, or even looking at the idea of playing 3 Core Volts and moving stuff like a Binding into the main, because one of the things you always want to focus on is Trail of Crumbs. Like, the one thing I dislike about this deck is that this is realistically just an engine to draw more copies of these cards, and then occasionally, like, copies of these cards. And then, of course, lands. Which isn't bad when you have, like, Takenuma and Buseiju amongst your lands, and, like, just, like, utility lands in general. Because I could see, like, maybe diversifying your Trail of Crumb options, but it is tricky, because you don't want to, like, make it inconsistent. As to, like, the variety of hits. But cards like Binding the Old Gods, additional channeling lands, planeswalkers like Vraska, are just really good, solid cards you can put in. You can sneak a copy into your main deck. I wouldn't even hate, like, an Unlicensed Hearse in the main deck for that same reason. But, alright, well, that's going to be it for the stream tonight. I know it was a little shorter than normal, just given that we have... Just given that we got on a little late, I did work a little late as well tonight, fortunately. I've been having to work a little bit later. I'll probably have to work a little bit later tonight, tomorrow night, and the night after. So the Budget Battle Season 4 Episode 2 stream might be a little later than normal as well because of that. But we'll do our best to ensure that we are back. Now, if you want to get a sneak preview chat of what I'm playing this Thursday, I got Rakdos, Demir, and Gruul. So, playing a Rakdos deck, went with the Anvil. You know, from a budget deck standpoint, other than you get some of the awkward, like you're only playing 2-op Nixilis and like, you know, like 1 Meathook Massacre and then like an extra Meathook Massacre, where normally you'd probably just be on like playing 4 copies of cards. Matter of fact, I'm not even convinced this card's good in this deck. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to do this. I just want to play 4 of this. This is my mythic. But like, you get to play, you know, Witch's Oven. You get to play Claim. Matter of fact, I think I'm gonna build something more similar because I don't even think we're gonna go with the Anvil here. Yeah, let's cut the Anvils. Go like this. We're gonna go even more budget, chat. Witness. So, I know that we've played decks like this one before on stream, and I know one of the things we tend to avoid doing is repeating deck ideas. Now, for the budget battle, what I really wanted to show off here was just how good a budget deck can be, just in general. We'll go with some Fatal Push. But I really enjoy playing these budget decks. And especially when it comes to things like, so that's 8. I think I'm gonna cut this and go like 1, 2, 1, 2, and those will be my rares. One of the things I really wanted to show off, especially in this week's budget battle, was like just how accessible because like Rakdos Sacrifice isn't exactly I think in this format it is a tier 1 deck. That being Explorer specifically. So I definitely feel like detractors from this strategy, because they do exist, believe it or not, will tell you that it's not, and they'll come up with like a myriad of reasons as to why it's not. And I think those people are like horrendously wrong, just in general. So I wouldn't listen to those people if you don't have to. But I think that what these decks offer to players is a cheap, powerful strategy that is inclusive of cards that are just objectively good anyway. I genuinely believe, like, if you want to be successful, then you should play decks like this. Because these decks are good. And that's as simple as that. Now, this version of the deck may not be fully optimized, just given that we're playing budget. You know, we only have so many rares and mythics to work with, right? So, you know, we're gonna have to make some considerable cuts. And that's okay. Yeah, whatever. I'm actually gonna look at this deck for some inspiration. Croxa was the 2-drop, but I'm thinking not. Okay, and then Epicure. But like a big part of playing budget decks is, or rather the budget battle series, is to really show you guys exactly how easy it is to get in. Because like if we look at this deck, you know, the full version of the deck plays what, 2 more rares and then like 2 more mythics. So, like, this is a deck that will probably, like, show off as, like, well, yeah, this is, like, easily upgradable. And even the version of the deck we're playing isn't, like, drastically far off of where you'd want to be. Like, as far as, like, deck construction goes. And let's look at this one more time. "22 lands. I think the last card we're going to play... I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut one Eaten Alive and then play 2 copies of this guy, Blood Tithe Harvester. Cut these Fatal Grudges. They get worse when you don't have, like, I don't think we need the extra claim. Lantern, solid budget option for Graveyard Hate. I think I want some Duresses. We may not be able to afford Thoughtseizes given our budget, but there we go. So we've got a Rakdos budget deck. We've also got, I've got a Dimir deck. Now I believe it has the Scarab God. I don't think it actually, yeah, it does have 2 copies. It's basically like a Dimir Surveil control deck. You know, I've got some I got some counter magic, some removal spells. My mythics are a Torrential Gearhulk, the Scarab God. And we'll just kind of see how powerful this strategy can be. One of the other things I got to do was in my mana base play around with utility lands, which felt really cool. And, like, I've just got a lot of, like, really good... One of the cool things about blue sideboard cards is a lot of them are commons and uncommons, believe it or not. But, yeah, like, Memorial to Genius, Memorial to Folly, If Near Dead lands, Port of Carfell, of course, Takanuma Odawara, Dismal Backwater, serving as a fine turn 1/turn 2 play, given our curve. Shipwreck Marsh, Watery Grave, even Obscurus Storefront as a means to fetch up our one of our 4 basics and gain a life seemed really, really effective. Matter of fact, I do think I'm going to go like this. I feel like favoring having 2 of these versus 5 basics seems fine. Really straightforward. Really like it. But then for my last one, for the Gruul deck, I really wanted to... Since I stuck kind of close to the chest with the Rakdos deck, I really wanted to go out of my way to make this one funky. We have played with Invigorating Hot Spring in the budget battle before, but I really wanted to go in a very deep direction. This is not a deck I would recommend playing. This is Gruul Pummeler. I threw Drabby Noobs off last week with my mono blue Yorion 80-card mill. This week I'm going to throw him off with Invigorating Hot Spring Electrostatic Pummeler. Because the way this ends up working is you just sort of incidentally put energy into onto yourself, I guess. And then you can, like, pump this thing up. And what's really nice is that this card gives Trample. So if you can Ancestral Anger this, and then maybe, like, High Spire Infusion, it's going to have 5 power, and then you can pay, say, maybe this twice, and it'll be a 20 power trampling creature. Or you can just, like, Garruk onto this. The other thing is that it just have, like, 2 drops that I can, like, play these cards with. Which is nice. But one of the things that's cool about energy as a kind of general mechanic is you get to play it with Aether Hub. It's just like a land that produces any color of mana. And then this is a deck that I actually sort of ran out of. But I ran out of space before I hit my budget, so I ended up wanting to play something that had like some card advantage elements, but still played into the main game plan. So Garruk Unleashed from M21 sort of fit the bill, and then like some Chandra Heartifiers. Just want to try it out. I love the name of the card. It's one of my favorites. Maybe that's correct. But, who knows. But I really want... This is one that I wanted to throw Drabinoops off with, we'll say, for this Thursday. I'm really looking forward to playing him with this one. Alright, well, that's going to be it. We're going to wrap it up there. It's 10:40. I got to work in the morning. I actually got to go into work early in the morning. So, of course, I appreciate y'all for watching. Of course, if you want to stay up to date with my content, you can go and hit that follow button. If you want to support my content even further, you can hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you want to check us out when we're not online, you can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/saltiestgaijin. So, of course,